mouse machine breaks over.
Notice, excessive hiatus will not abuse the algorithm.
Even a Reaper needs a holiday every now and then. But now it's time to get back to work. Triple time.
Orders received, optimizing output.
That's the spirit. The title card, please.
Loading title card.
Hey guys, this is the Reaper, and it's time once again for Reaper's Review. So today we're going to be reviewing Boruto episodes 12 through 14. Since we've got a lot to cover, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We start off at the academy where Boruto and his classmates are doing a lesson on teamwork. Most of the group seem to be struggling with the exercise, only having one or two of the classmates actually finish. When it's Boruto, Mitsuki, and Denki's turn, instead of finishing the obstacle course without Denki, who seems to be lagging behind at every turn, Boruto decides to do his best to give his friend a hand. Though this results in all of them failing due to them being outside of the time limit, I'm fairly certain if they weren't having full-blown conversations in the middle of the exercise, they would have made it with plenty of time to spare. Shino-sensei then informs the class as a whole that nobody passed the test, even those who brought part of the group to the finish line. The reason is because this was a team exercise. Without all teammates present, there was no victory. Mitsuki, who's returned to his default setting about not understanding anything about how the world works, questions the logic behind putting a mission in jeopardy in order to protect a comrade. In addition, he questions Boruto's and even his own actions taken during the exercise in order to help Denki, even though it decreased their odds of mission success. When Shugadai mentions that it might have been Boruto's influence, Mitsuki decides to go on a personal mission, asking various classmates about Boruto and how his attitude and presence affects them. Though everyone goes around saying how much they love Boruto, not many people can pinpoint exactly why that is. The closest answer we have actually comes from Inoji, who says that even though many people judge Boruto based on his father's status as the Hokage, he doesn't let that define him. Do his own thing, be his own person. So this is essentially Boruto's version of the whole honorable grandson thing that we saw in the original Naruto. But once again, I'm gonna have to call a show, not tell. The only time we actually see villagers judging Boruto based on his status as the son of the Hokage was when it was completely justified. He committed a heinous act and was let off with a slap on the wrist. That's a conclusion that just about anybody would come to put in that situation. So, Mitsuki wants to know more about Boruto's personal life and ends up going to his house for dinner. While waiting, he speaks with Boruto in his room, where there is much more evidence about Naruto being an awesome. Since Boruto seems disturbed at the fact that Naruto will be home for dinner tonight, Mitsuki asks if Boruto actually hates Naruto. But before he can answer, the dinner bell rings and it's time to eat. Shortly after everyone is seated, the big man himself shows up, and there's much rejoicing from everybody except for Boruto. But in the middle of dinner, Naruto gets an urgent message from one of his shadow clones informing him that there is an emergency going on somewhere in the village, and he gets up to leave immediately. Predictably, Boruto gets upset and begins trashing on Naruto. Naruto, exercising more patience than I would deem necessary, tries to calmly explain to Boruto that this is part of his job. But instead of being a big boy, Boruto throws a tantrum and runs out in a huff, in a potentially dangerous situation. And Mitsuki decides to go after him. It's kind of funny, looking at the whole situation, it seems that if anybody was going to throw a tantrum, I don't know, it would be somebody younger, maybe somebody who wouldn't understand the situation fully. I'm just saying, everybody got the information at the same time, but only one person ran off like a little. Mitsuki manages to catch up with Boruto, and Boruto goes ahead and answers the question, saying that he does in fact hate Naruto, or more accurately, that he hates the Hokage. because he feels that the Hokage is somebody who has to sacrifice too much for the greater good. Mitsuki, switching back to his hyper-aware social emotional awareness mode, deduces that Boruto actually has a lot of love for Naruto. He then states that he knows who the mastermind behind the ghost incident is, and that he's going to tell Boruto in about 20 to 30 minutes. And the culprit so what's her name? Wait, no, seriously, what's her name? Analysis machine. What's her name's name?
Sumire-san-da!
Right, Sumire. So, I'm not gonna be unfair. They did do a bad job on foreshadowing Sumire as the puppet master behind the ghost. They did leave some adequate clues without plastering it all over the wall. The main problem is this character really doesn't have much of a presence, and in most such cases, that's not to the credit of a big reveal. If you think about it, in these type of scenarios, the more influential a character is, the more shocking the reveal will be. That's why in Scooby-Doo, they don't just unmask random people. It wouldn't be very exciting. You have to introduce the person to the story and show what role they play. That way, there is an emotional reaction when their deceit is revealed. For an example, imagine how you'd feel if it turned out that it was actually Shikadai who was the mastermind behind the whole ghost incident. The whole time he was cooperating with Boruto trying to catch the ghost, he was actually throwing them off its trail and giving himself both an alibi and greater mobility. So, tonight is finally the night that Tsubure is going to make her move. But she's not going to get very far. I mean, this is the strongest village in existence, and she's just a little kid. But remember, this is Boruto, it doesn't have to make sense. Tsubure releases her secret chimera-type summoning animal, Nue, an artificial summoning creature created by her father. It turns out our boys were right on the money on their hunch several episodes ago, that this was in fact a legacy of Danzo. Tsubure's father happens to be one of Danzo's last remaining disciples, and with his dying wish, he swore vengeance on the Leaf Village to be carried out by his daughter Tsubure and the results of his late master's research, Nue. So, a fight ensues between Kakashi, Sai, and two red shirts versus Nue. And in spite of this being a village full of mountain crushers, continent devastators, and many people with hacks out the wazoo, they're all gonna pretend that they can't handle this city block level threat. I don't know, Sai, maybe this would be a good time to use your OP sealing jutsu? You know, the one that Danzo taught you through all his abuse? Wouldn't it be some kind of poetic justice to end the legacy of Danzo using the tools that he equipped you with? No? We're gonna use Boruto logic? Well, okay then. Even when Big Boy Naruto shows up, they still act like there's nothing they can do. As if Naruto, who has more techniques than Kakashi at this point, couldn't figure out a single hack to destroy Nue before it explodes. And seriously, if destroying the Leaf Village was that easy, everybody would be doing it. So while this nonsense is going on, Boruto sets out towards the scene to find Tsubure and see if he can talk to her. But it's at this time that Mitsuki gets new orders from his mysterious contact to eliminate Tsubure, putting him and Boruto at odds. Mitsuki, who's only thorough when it's convenient, decides to hold Boruto back with a single shadow clone. I guess his plan was for that one shadow clone to hold Boruto in place for several hours until the matter was resolved. Of course, this does not work, and his assassination of Tsubure is interrupted when Boruto catches up with him. Boruto wants to talk things out, but both parties have their heart set on bloodshed, so they charge at each other with killing intent. And even though both of these characters seem to be more skilled than Boruto, he still manages to pull a Kakashi and stop them both in their tracks. But why stop copying the copy ninja there? Boruto's going to use Kamui, sucking in Nue, who's several miles away, and opening up another connecting portal right above them. Boruto logic just rolled, and thus Boruto, Sugure, and Mitsuki enter the portal to conclude their battle. So while the OG characters stand outside wondering when the plot holes got big enough to swallow up a massive behemoth,
What the hell is going on around here?
Boruto is falling to his certain death when a bunch of vines materialize themselves out of nowhere and catch him. I mean, okay, this will probably be my only nitpick here, but I mean, look at the shot. They clearly weren't there. They could have just. Okay, anyway, so yeah, he gets saved by the vines. Then he finds himself in a strange dimension. He looks around for the class rep, but finds only Nue, and it's because of this that he believes Sugure is dead, and he engages Nue in order to avenge her. For a super powerful experimental beast, it sure seems to be having difficulty putting down one genin, but eventually it does put Boruto on the ropes, and before he can finish the job, Mitsuki intervenes and saves him. The two decide to team up to take down the beast, and Boruto, using his special eye which has remained active, is able to find a weak spot in Nue, and they turn the tables. This time it's Mitsuki moving in for the final blow on Nue when Sugure shows up, revealing that she's still alive. As the three-way standoff begins, Sugure begins to monologue about her past, how her dad turned her into a weapon, and how she doesn't care about anything but fulfilling her mission. Boruto gets injured while trying to prevent Mitsuki and Sugure from killing each other, and it's enough to get them both to stop momentarily. Using that time, he begins to call Sugure out on her BS. Using Talk no Jutsu, he convinces her that the bonds and memories she made with her classmates are real and valuable, which causes Sugure to falter. In a last-ditch effort, Sugure calls Nue over to devour the rest of her chakra, sacrificing herself in order to complete the mission. However, when Nue shows that he's not willing to do that, her last defenses are shattered, as well as the Gozu Tenmu. With the destruction of the Jutsu formula, the dimensional space becomes unstable and begins falling apart. So the three make a mad dash for the nearest exit. For some reason, Boruto's eye is able to see through to the outside world, and he's able to punch through the dimension into the real world because, sure, I guess. They exit the portal and land within a few feet of Shikadai, Denki, and Inoji. The three are confused about how Boruto and the others fell from the sky, but before we can investigate on why that is, Sai arrives on the scene. After verifying that no one is hurt, he takes Sugure, but first informing both her and the group that no harm will come to her. As they are departing, Boruto's eye activates again, and he sees Nue. He then lets Sugure know that Nue is still alive, even though the dimension collapsed. And with one final lazy joke, the episode ends, and finally puts an end to the ghost arc. So I guess you really could say,
All's well that ends well.
Boruto, shut up. So, on to Reaper's verdict.
Would you like me to call Ryuji?
Well, it's probably best if we break them down one at a time. Episode 12 is an absolute snooze fest. Having an A-plot of Mitsuki going around and talking to Boruto's classmates is just about as boring as it sounds. Episode 13 was better by comparison, but still not good by any means. We honestly spent about half of the episode listening to the OG characters explain nonsensically why they can't do the things that we already know that they're capable of. Any character that Boruto can react to would be dead 1,000 times before it knew what hit them if they were fighting one of these three characters. In the absolute worst case scenario, you're trying to convince me that Naruto couldn't grab this thing by the tail and throw it into the stratosphere before it had time to react, then you're clearly not reading the source material. something that I suspect all the Boruto writers are guilty of. Episode 14 has a few pretty decent action sequences, but ultimately you get the impression that the fight is pretty meaningless. And that's pretty much supported by the episode's conclusion. So that's 3 episodes and 3 verdicts of freaking boring. Huh. Maybe we could have called Ryuji after all. Well, regardless, let's just hope the next arc isn't quite as agonizing as this one. And on that note, I think it's time to bring this review to a close. My name is D Reaper, and I'm a YouTuber for fun. Today's challenge, work on your fitness goals. Good luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one.